Hi, I'm Rachael Power, Community Correspondent of AccountingWEB.co.uk, and I'm here with software guru and AccountingWEB editor John Stokdyk to discuss our Software Satisfaction Award shortlist results. We'll also be announcing the winners in this video after we've gone through the runners and riders and a few key themes, but we only will do that on 7th of November, and we'll add it at the end of this video. Sage 200, Access, SAP Business One, Pegasus NetSuite, Exchequer, Carrera Resource 3000, and Microsoft Dynamics GP. I'll ask you, first of all, John, how do you read the Cloud v Client server dynamic in these voting patterns? So Aquila on fringes alongside NetSuite, which has a substantial vote, and the Sage 200 moving to hybrid platform strategy.
That's a tough call. This market, the mid-range market, isn't so so cloud focused as the small business area. So where small business was about 47% cloud, the sample here actually brought the overall service share down to 42%. So that means ERP is less, so it's probably below 40% because they're much bigger, more complicated installations. I think NetSuite is the main player there. We just out of the running we had Aquila, so that didn't quite. It only had fairly small, kind of it was double figures, but not that many users listed in there. So Aquila is in the undergrowth, but not up there battling out with the likes of Sage 200 or Access. Sage 200 is interesting because that is the traditional client server. You use it at a PC. Piece of ERP software, but Sage has announced they've now got a version of that, and it can operate on both. You can actually have a mix, a hybrid environment with that one, which is an interesting approach. I think we'll see that, and you think in ERP there are some, say, warehousing tasks you might and sales orders. So you've got some elements that might well want to be mobile and be able to kind of log in and use anywhere. But then maybe back in the finance department, or if you've got a warehouse manager, talk about warehouse, but there's some will be planning more desk bound, and you'd want more horsepower and storage capacity. So I think we'll probably see that model going on. Okay, well, Sage has got a big piece of the market there. That was 21%, and Access are hanging on in there too at 17%, so just breathing right down their necks. Exchequer, sort of in terms of market share, has dropped down our list a little, and Pegasus. I guess the surprising thing is SAP Business One, so which kind of that is one of the global ERP giants. They made a good showing in our sample. I mean, it's not a huge share. Where the small business accounts, we had nearly 5,000 people voting for those products. This section was less than 1,000, so it was about 779, if I remember correctly. So it is smaller. So SAP, it was the one global player. NetSuite's a big global player. I shouldn't dismiss them just because they are a lot nearer than SAP. But no sign of Oracle. Almost barely one user out of, I think, 12,000 different votes. So Oracle has disappeared. So I think our local products are holding up, but it's interesting. I think we like to sort of get a bigger vote for ERP next year, just so we could actually, these are only indicative numbers. It's not really what the market share is, but it's just within the AccountingWEB community. That's kind of the breakdown. And as I say, it will be interesting to find out who's run off with the big prize.
Business Intelligence, Sage 200, Pegasus XRL, Access, and Cognos.
I guess the specialist BI developers didn't really make a big showing, or the big, we're talking about sort of apparent underrepresentation, except for the SAP Business One, of the giant suites, the Oracles, the MySAPs. Microsoft Dynamics GP made it into the ERP section, but not Navision, not Dynamics Nav as we now know it. So they weren't. Those are the companies that tend to own. SAP, Oracle, and IBM own all the big companies, and only Cognos that kind of breed of specialist BI tool has made it into the AccountingWEB community. And in fact, this was a ridiculously small vote, again, out of 12,000 different product ratings, barely 200. So I don't know, maybe it was the recession and people couldn't invest in, frills that they maybe weren't absolutely core to their accounts, but BI is still pretty much a minority interest amongst AccountingWEB members. So the ones that are making the big showing there is Sage 200, Pegasus XRL, and Access. Those are all, people are rating the tools that kind of come packaged in or accompany the standard ERP system. So there's not a lot of people going an extra mile and doing really clever add-on, data warehousing and online analytical processing. We don't see a lot of that in our community. I think specialist tools will come up into the universe, in particular intuitive business intelligence, which is a web-based tool that will kind of hook into any number of ledgers, CRM systems, different kinds. So it's a web application. It plugs into maybe your client server ERP system and the CRM, and gives you can sort of suck all the data in and then look at it in a very graphical way on the web. It was quite, because of the way the voting went. You had to get quite a big vote to contest it with the 4 that did make it through the shortlist. So intuitive business intelligence, definitely keep an eye out for them. And so that's a web-based tool. I think Pegasus we talked earlier about. That's quite interesting. Is that the Pegasus tool XRL is just all about taking the data from the ledgers and into Excel and analysing it there. And I think if we probably did a separate, and I'd like probably to do that, you could always do a separate analysis of all the people on our survey who said they used Excel tools. And it might well make it into sort of this category on its own right, although whether it would get rated as highly as some of these specialist tools, I'm not so sure. But maybe I'll do that for Excel zone readers.
And going over, the winner is NetSuite. And we're going over to Darren Upson at NetSuite's UK marketing headquarters for his reaction. So how are you feeling, Darren? What's it like to win again?
It's fantastic. Thank you very much, John. It's brilliant.
You've possibly contradicted those who think that cloud isn't quite ready for the mid-market and above. What's the NetSuite philosophy on that?
I think it's a natural progression. I think there's been an awful lot of organisations have relied, far too heavily on point solutions that are typically on-premise, and frankly, they just they're not scalable with the growth aspirations of a lot of the organisations in the mid-range market. So, the great thing about NetSuite is it's a fully scalable solution. So we've got customers as small as 10 to 20 employees, all the way up to 10,000 employees. And the great thing with NetSuite is it scales with those organisations that are growing at a rapid pace. So when we look at organisations that are on the Tech Track list, the Sunday Times Tech Track list, the Fast Track list, those types of organisations, typically the businesses that move to us from products like Sage come across for one reason. They've grown out of their existing solution, whether it be Sage Line 50 or even Sage 200, and typically they're looking for a product that's going to scale with their future growth aspirations, whether it be international expansion or whether it's a case of just acquiring other organisations and creating new subsidiaries. So I think that's one of the core reasons for our success. And frankly, it's a very good product as well. I mean, we run on NetSuite internally. Everything that we do runs on our own system. So it's actually quite a nice model for a software company such as ourselves to actually work on.
You were best in class for functionality, which does probably gainsay those who think that you've got to have a desktop product to get fully mature functionality. Their support was very good as well. Is there any other aspect of the product you think which keeps the users aligned to it and loyal?
Well, every year, I mean, there are 2 releases of a product that come out every single year, and each time one of those releases come out, new features and functionality come as part of the offering. All of our users get upgraded instantly without any downtime. But typically, what those customers see is they see, additional functionality, whether it be the advance of recurring billing or something along those lines. So as the features and functionality that we develop are launched, our customers can take advantage of those particular features and functionality. It's a simple fact that our product evolves. We're growing rapidly as an organisation, but the revenue gain that we're getting on an annual basis, the profit that we're making as a business, is getting churned straight back into the product. So R&D within NetSuite as a solution is just going through the roof, and that's the core reason why I think our customers are very, very happy, and our retention rates are incredibly high. There's some exciting stuff coming up in the near term. You probably heard that we acquired Tribe HR, which was an organisation that was actually one of our Suite App partners. I mean, we're continually growing our ecosystem of Suite App partners that are basically building additional functionality built on our platform, whether it be for human capital management or whether it be for payroll, whatever it might be. There's also some interesting things coming forward as well in terms of look and feel and so on and so forth. We've just launched our new iPhone application as well, which is fully functioning. So rather than just being a read-only type product, pretty much any exec can just use their iPhone to do anything they need to, see their KPIs, anything they need to within NetSuite. So which is quite cool. But yeah, there's some interesting challenges that are going to be happening over the next 12 to 18 months, and we're really excited about the outlook for the business.
Okay, well, once again, congratulations again.
Thank you very much, John.
The Perspex Award is on its way, and hope it sits in the next to cabinet to your previous goals.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Cheers, John. Appreciate that.
Take care.
Bye.
In front of you, I will put up a list of the shortlist again to remind you who the contenders are. And the winner is Pegasus XRL. So, Stuart, what's your initial reaction?
That's fantastic news. From our perspective, it's in terms of the voting. We'd like to thank everybody for voting for us, and obviously SIF Media for running the event. We much appreciate it. So it's great news from our perspective.
Do you feel this is a tool or an approach that people need to wake up to?
Most definitely. If you look at our customer base, 60% of our Opera 2 and Opera 3 customers use XRL as their integration into Excel for BI and for what-if scenarios, etc.
Do you think the Excel factor is maybe what sets you apart from the others?
I think it's a major contributory factor because of the fact that you can take stuff directly out of Opera 3, Opera 2 into Excel via XRL, and then perform what scenarios you want. You can put budgets back into the software, etc. So it allows people to have much more control over what they're trying to achieve. It allows them to plan a lot more. It allows them to create different scenarios based on their business needs and requirements going forward.
Okay. With the kind of the native BI tools integrated into the application, do you get a sense that's how the wider market will come into sort of the analytical application arena, or do you think you might be getting more pressure and more competition over the next year or two from the specialist suppliers?
I think that the reason why our product's so successful is because it's so integrated into the accounting software side. It means you can do a lot more with it out of the box. So you're up and running from day one. You can create a number of scenarios. From scratch that are already there, you can then add to it. I think the difference between that and an external product, it means they've got to do a lot more work to access the data structures, to be able to go deeper into the software to allow you to do more with the product. Whereas if it's integrated, it'll access all areas of the product as standard to allow you to do a lot more and be a lot more effective within your software and within your business.
Excellent. Okay, we've got any plans for XRL?
XRL will continue to evolve. It also integrates into our dashboards product as well, which is seeing more traction as well, because obviously from an executive perspective or even different areas of the business, people don't require just to be going into Excel and doing stuff within Excel. They see visual stuff that's moving as the business is changing. So for me, for example, as a sales director, I can see what orders are coming in real time. I can see the graphs moving. I can see where our debts are, if people's going over their debts, etc. All of those things are all there for you. So I see that integration becoming a lot more closer over the next 12, 18 months time, which is going to be good. And from a Pegasus perspective, we're just about to move into our new product, the Web Exchange, which has basically taken discrete parts of the existing product and then allowing them to be used over the web. And next week we'll be launching our Pegasus Web Exchange with payroll self-service, which allows people from fixed or mobile devices to be able to log in, change their details, get copies of pay slips, etc., etc. So I see that the Web Exchange is going to grow and extend the reach of Opera 3 over the web to allow more and more discrete areas of the product that benefit businesses in the web.
Okay, well, let's say we've